Up, folks? It's your boy, the Prince of Petty. I am back, bro, with another video. I'm trying to get to doing these things regularly. Oh, you asked who's this broad right here? Well, shout out to Law and Crime. Shout out to Sidebar, Mr. Jesse Weber, because he did a extraordinary job on reporting on this, and he actually beat me to it. I heard about this a few days ago, and I was waiting on some information. I was trying to look around, trying to get extra stuff to talk about, so you guys can know all the details about this foolishness. But again, big shout out to Law and Crime, big shout out to Sidebar, and I'm going to post a link to this video in the description box because I'm not going to play the entire video, probably half of it. In layman's terms, get ready to be pissed off. Because one thing I am an advocate for is the advocacy of children. I believe children are the least protected among society. I believe a lot of things happen to children and it gets swept under the rug. Things happen to children, whether it be CPS, they fall through the cracks and CPS should have gotten involved or something like that, and the person just gets fired. No, I believe that person should be charged. You have parents killing children and they get off with slaps on the wrist or what have you. Mind you, we're talking about women, the mothers. The mothers are the main perpetrators of this. How do I know? Allow me to show you. This is from Statista, very reputable source when it comes to stats or what have you. And this is from 2022. The number of child abuse victims in the United States. Who's the highest perpetrator? See the mom? You see the father? And it goes down drastically when it has two parents. This is another one from Statista. As you can see, number of child fatalities due to abuse or maltreatment. Fatalities. Who's at the top there? You tell me. Look at the father compared to the mom. Half. That's wild, ain't it? But yet somebody, once again, is going to come on here. Oh, well, the mom has the child the majority of the time. It doesn't matter. It's your obligation as a parent to love and protect that child. And I just want to double down. Here's another one from 2021. Who's still at the top? We did 2021 and 2022. Who's at the top? Both times. You tell me. Now, what did this woman do to her child? First off, child? No. We're talking about an infant. This child was 1 year old. A 1-year-old. 17 months. So a year and a half old. What did she do to the child? Clutch your pearls. Have a seat. Pay attention. She tossed the child from a hotel balcony. Oh, but the story gets worse. Let's go to Sidebar and let's hear what they have to say. Again, I'm not going to play the whole video, probably half. I'm going to put the link at the bottom so you guys can go watch this for yourself.
A mother is accused of killing her 17-month-old daughter by throwing her off a hotel balcony. It is truly a sickening crime as we dive into the details of this event, her mental health, and some backstory. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Really? Really sad story out of Galveston, Texas, we got to talk about. We have a woman who is accused of throwing her 17-month-old daughter off a hotel balcony.
And I hate when people use the word accused. Yeah, you got to use legal terms, of course. I understand that. But, hey, I don't have any subscribers. And I'm not a lawyer. Sue me. Hell with it. She did it. She tossed a damn child off the balcony. Ain't no alleged here. Ain't no accused. Ain't no accusations. No, she did it.
Killing her. This is just awful. 30-year-old Chanel Yanko has been charged with capital murder in the death of her toddler, Hannah. According to a probable cause affidavit that was authored by Detective Matthew Larson, we learned a lot more details about this. So I want to start when Larson describes arriving on the scene after receiving a call about this unresponsive child bleeding on the road. Quote, the affiant observed a white blanket half on a sidewalk and half on the street. The affiant observed a small pool of blood on the street. The affiant observed the scene to be located on the east side of Beachfront Palms Hotel. It goes on to say the affiant observed that the child was already in an ambulance and left for the hospital shortly after. The affiant was notified at 10:34 a.m. that the child's death was pronounced by hospital personnel.
10:34 a.m. So you woke up on demon time. You woke up and chose violence. She woke up and chose to gangbang on some bacon. That's what she did. 10:34 in the morning. And that's what you do? That's what you wake up to do? Did you brush your teeth? Did you at least wipe the crust out of your eyeballs before you decide to unalive your child?
Detective Rogers was at the hospital and advised to the affiant at 10:44 a.m. that there were 3 puncture wounds on the child. So now we have this idea of potential stabbing injuries as well.
So she stabbed the child, then threw the child off the damn balcony. You can't make this up.
By the way, a man named Brandon Uribe apparently saw, or was the one who actually found Hannah's body on the street, told ABC 13 it was heartbreaking to see that, to see a little precious, beautiful, perfect little girl laying there lifeless. Yeah. Now, in terms of the defendant, the affidavit continues. Officer Wilkie advised that he put out a description of a female who left from the location of where the baby was found, who possibly was a witness. Officer Reyes advised that a short time later, he observed a female matching the description that Officer Wilkie had put out in the 6700 block of Seawall Boulevard. The affiant learned from Officer Reyes that the female was crying and asking Officer Reyes for help. The affiant learned from Officer Reyes that the female then began to be making comments about her daughter and that she might have been sick. And then the affidavit explains that Yanko was taken to the police department, advised that she wished to speak to a lawyer. She apparently wouldn't even give her name. But here's what's interesting. Larson apparently ended up interviewing Yanko's sister, Mercedes, who's at the police station. Okay, now before I go any further, because I will tell you there was an officer who spoke to the sister here when we got more details, I want to bring on Dr. April Alexander, forensic psychologist, to talk more about this. Doctor, thanks so much for taking the time.
Now, see, in situations like this, when they bring doctors on, and this isn't just sidebar, this goes on for the news stations alike across the nation. When something like this happens with a mother unsubscribing their child from life, from existence, they tend to bring in the doctor, and the doctor talks about said case or what have you, and then the doctor begins to give outs. The doctor begins to give understanding. Now, I haven't watched this video, quite honestly, but we're going to see what this doctor has to say about this.
A lot that I want to get to about this. First of all, generally speaking, why do parents kill their children? And my gosh, in an allegation like this, throwing a child off of a hotel balcony, talk to us about that.
I'll tell you why parents do it. Again, I showed you the stats. It's usually the mom, more times than not. The moms do it because apparently they don't like being mothers. They done had this child. They don't want to take care of said child, even though birth control is damn near free. Shout out to Baskin Robbins. Birth control has more flavors than Baskin Robbins has ice cream. That in and of itself is insane. But we're going to continue this.
Yeah, so this is an example of filicide, which is one of the killings of a child by a caregiver. When we see these cases, we see them for a number of reasons. We've had research over the decades that have showed that some parents might do it out of altruism, so they think that the death is in the best interest of the child. Some do it as a part of a murder-suicide. Others, if your child is having a terminal illness, might do it to relieve their pain or suffering. But in many cases, we see, in filicide cases, we see a psychotic parent. So somebody who has...
And that's her, the goddamn psycho. It's usually the moms. The moms are the psychopaths. Because usually when you see a father kill his child, it's usually the murder-suicide aspect. When a mom kills her child, it's one of two reasons. It's usually because she felt the child didn't need to be here anymore. The child is better off dead. And she just continues on with life. She doesn't kill herself like most fathers do. Most fathers commit suicide afterwards. The mothers try, but then they fail at it, which is why men have a higher suicide rate. Women have a higher suicide attempt rate. One thing men are good at killing themselves. That's not a joke. Might have came out funny, but it's not a joke. Men are very good at committing suicide. Women, you suck. You do things like drink a bottle cap of bleach as opposed to drinking a bottle. You get what I'm saying? Like they have more attempts than we do. So, hence, we run into situations like they kill a child and they survive. They're the ones that's still alive when that happens.
Parent. So somebody who has severe and persistent mental illness, such as schizophrenia, who is not in the right state, mental state of mind, who does some horrendous act of filicide.
I want to keep that all in mind as we talk about this, because I want to lay out a little bit more of the timeline and get your perspective on it. So as I mentioned, Detective Larson ended up apparently interviewing Yanko's sister, Mercedes, who was at the police station. And it reads, the Affian interviewed Mercedes Yanko, who advised that she was sharing a room at the Beachfront Palms Hotel with her sister, Chanel Yanko, and Chanel's daughter. Mercedes advised that Chanel had come to Galveston several days to see Mercedes. Mercedes stated that on the morning of the 23rd, she gathered with Chanel, and then the name of the daughter is redacted, to begin checking out the hotel. Mercedes stated that she got a ride to the Victorian, which appears to be this condominium, this hotel, to try to talk to her fiancé, Charles. However, it continues, and this is a really strange part. Mercedes stated that after a while, Chanel showed up to the Victorian, pushing her stroller. Mercedes originally stated that Chanel showed up with her daughter. Upon further questioning, Mercedes stated that she didn't actually see the baby, but had no reason to believe she wasn't in the stroller. Mercedes stated that she told Chanel that she couldn't find Charles and was going to go back to the Beachfront Palms to gather their luggage. Mercedes stated that Chanel then told her not to go back to the hotel. Mercedes found it odd that Chanel would say that and stated that Chanel said, "Don't go back to the hotel," several more times.
Sounds to me like she was trying to cover her tracks or something. Sounds to me like she's trying to keep people out of what it was she was in. Don't go back to the hotel? The hell you mean? My doggone stuff is at the hotel. What you mean don't go back to the hotel? I need to get my stuff. Why would I not go back to the hotel when my stuff is at said hotel? She's literally trying to cover her tracks. That's crazy.
And the affidavit goes on to state that detectives ended up apparently finding a trash bag in a trash bin in the parking garage under that hotel. And in that bag was a key card to Chanel's room, a, quote, skinning knife with a black handle, plastics and toys, unused diapers, and unopened kid snacks. And that
is sad. That is hurtful. She really tried to cover her tracks after she unalived a 17-month-old child. Let's listen to what they found again. Let's hear that again.
Under that hotel, and in that bag, was a key card to Chanel's room, a, quote, skinning knife with a black handle, plastics and toys, unused diapers, and unopened kid snacks. And that's not even all. The affidavit also indicated that a detective apparently found footage of Chanel in the lobby of the hotel pushing Hannah in a stroller. And you know how we can tell it was Hannah in the stroller? Because apparently you can see a foot moving in the stroller. And then there is apparently video, quote, from the second story of the baby falling from what appears to be the third floor and landing on the grass and rolling onto the concrete sidewalk where the baby was found.
Oh my God. There's video of this. Does that not pull on you guys' heartstrings? There's video of this. Showing the baby falling in the bushes. And she just released the child to the wind. Like she's releasing some ashes or some shit.
The disappearance of baby Lisa Irwin has been a mystery for more than a decade.
Who
took her from her crib in the middle of the night? And could she...
That was an ad for some Megyn Kelly stuff channel. I don't know.
Officer Wilkie advised that Chanel's empty stroller was found at the Victorian. And then this is interesting. They say how an investigator at the hospital advised that the clothes that this baby was wearing, the blankets that she was wrapped up in, didn't...
Look at that little girl.
So it seems to suggest that those injuries were inflicted before the fall. The affiant believes that Chanel Yanko to have intentionally and knowingly caused the death of Hannah by intentionally dropping her off the hotel balcony. And she was arrested. She was charged with capital murder, appeared in court on Monday. Dr. Alexander, I want to go back to you on this. What do you make of that timeline? What stands out to you about that?
I know it's probably going to say something about mental health and all that other nonsense. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear nothing about it. I'm trying to find this little child, this little girl, this little girl's photo. I'm gonna stop it right there. We live in a society, ladies and gentlemen, where we give women too many outs. As I stated earlier, birth control is damn near free. Shout out to Baskin Robbins. That's how many flavors of birth control one has. Then, once upon a time, prior to Roe versus Wade, you were all able to get abortions, which was basically a mulligan, which was the ability to cover up a bad penile decision or the possibility that you were not ready to be or wanted to be a mother. There was also a way where you can give being a parent a trial run where you can keep the child up until a certain age, I think like a few months or something like that, where even in some states there are spots that has dedicated baby chutes in the wall where you put the baby in the chute and you press a button or something, no questions asked. You can leave the baby at a police station, at the hospital, at a fire station, no questions asked outside of medical history. Then you can get a child up for adoption, legal abandonment. Mothers have every single out in the book. You don't see men putting their kids up for adoption. The ones who are single fathers. You don't see that. Like I said, I'm going to post a link so you guys can watch the rest of the video, watch the whole thing from start to finish. Because I didn't want this video here to end up being an hour, 2 hours long or something like that. But The fact of the matter remains, they're going to plead insanity for this woman. They're going to try to plead insanity for her. They're going to try to plead insanity. They're going to try to plead postpartum, of which I think is a myth. I don't care how mad I make people. Postpartum doesn't exist. There's just another out to give a female for offing her child. Postpartum. Men don't get postpartum. Oh, women and men are built differently. We're wired differently. Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. Yeah, we're definitely wired differently. I definitely agree with that. But we're not out here just Xing out children for the hell of it. Men aren't out here taking away children's souls as if it was just something to do. Most of the time when men do something, we can't plead insanity. The only time a dude could plead insanity or plead some form of mental illness is if he purposely go through the process and nuke an entire city. That wasn't funny, but I'm making that outlandish comparison because that's just about what a dude would have to do in order to be able to plead insanity. But yet a woman can go around and kill her child and possibly get a slap on the wrist. Now, for me personally, as long as I've been talking about these things, this is the first time ever that I've personally seen a news report where a mother kills her child and is being charged with capital murder. That is a first. I've never seen that before. This is a first. You may could pull up a story that maybe I haven't read about, or maybe it happened and I just don't remember. But I do not recall ever seeing somebody offering their children, a woman, a mom, offering her child and getting capital murder. I hope she gets the death penalty. Ooh, and they're in Texas. Galveston. Ooh, Lord, they're in Texas. Ooh. My dream may come true. Oh, I hope she gets the death penalty. I'm going to have to keep track of this. I think her trial is in December or something. Oh, I'm definitely going to have to keep track of this. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to use this as a cautionary tale to tell men, get y'all children. You might hate the mom. You might hate her family. You might hate her sisters. You might hate her brothers. But you shouldn't hate that child. Making that child was a team effort. Now, granted, if you didn't want nothing to do with that child, I mean, I feel like a man should be able to walk away at that point, quite honestly. I mean, I don't think a man should be hunted down by the state to pay for a child he didn't want, when the woman can just give up the child whenever she damn near felt like it, for the most part. In all of our taxes and everything pays for their existence, the food stamps, the Section 8 and all that stuff, I believe a man should be able to walk away. But provided you are a good father, you are a decent man, you just don't want the mom, be there for your child. If you have the capability, take her to court. Men, get y'all children, bro. Because it's crazy that in the midst of a breakup regarding a child is being involved, men have to walk around on eggshells praying to God something like this doesn't happen to his child. Look at this little girl. Look at this little girl. Beautiful little baby. It pains me to even have to come on here and talk about something like this. And you know what else pains me? The fact that I'm sitting at work in this truck yard and everybody just seems to drive past when wasn't nobody here 15 minutes ago. It irks my nerves to the high heaven. But look at this little girl. Look at her. We could have missed out on a future doctor, a future lawyer, a future teacher, a future cop, a future judge, a future mayor, a future governor. Hell, dare I say it, this probably could have been the president of the United States in the distant future. She's deceased now. That's sad. That is definitely sad. But you know what's going to happen? This little girl is going to go forgotten. She's going to go forgotten. I'm kind of upset that they didn't put her name out. Because had they put her name out, you know what I would say? Say this little girl's name. Remember this little girl's name. They're going to put her name out eventually, I'm more than sure. They might not. But if we know this little girl's name, say her name. We can all say Breonna Taylor's name. Breonna Taylor was an adult. Breonna Taylor did what she wanted to do. She wanted to chase behind fast money and thugs. And they brought their life to her doorstep. Thus what happened to her. Did she deserve it? Absolutely not. But that is the type of life you live when you don't watch the people that you keep around you. We can all say George Floyd's name. George Floyd was an adult who chose to dabble in drugs and want to walk around with fake money. He had a history of that, contrary to you all's belief, because the year prior to him being arrested, he had another altercation with police. The only difference is he actually made it to jail that day. But in that same video that happened a year prior to him passing, he was in that video too, being arrested, high as a kite, and begging for his mama. This little girl here didn't have that option. She didn't have a choice. She didn't have the opportunity to live as long as a Breonna Taylor, as long as a George Floyd. But the NBA is going to continue. Well, they don't do it now, but the NBA want to put those types of people on their jerseys. Why you can't put these children's name on your jerseys? The NFL want to go around putting these people who die in these police shootings names on their helmets. You don't see now one with any of these children's names on their helmets who get X'd out by their parents, by their mom. You don't see that. This is sad. And I know I'm going to get some pushback. I'm going to get some hate for what I just said with that. Boy, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. Oh, how could you bring them up? Oh, how could you talk about them? Well, I know I'm going to get some hate for that. Ignore that notification that just came across the screen. I don't even know what the hell that was. Wasn't paying attention. I hope this woman gets the death penalty. She deserves it. And I hope they kill her ass early, not late. I hope they expedite her execution as soon as humanly possible. Beautiful little girl. Look at those eyes. This one's gonna sit with me for a while. She was stabbed and thrown off a balcony. I'm going to do an update to this video. I'm going to follow this story. Definitely going to follow this story. And I'm going to let you guys know what happens. Shout out to Law and Crime. Like I said, I'm going to post their information in the description so you guys can watch this video for yourself. I hope somebody kill that cunt in prison. I really do. I really do. Oh, damn, forgot I was on YouTube. I'm out, y'all. Peace.